Hello, beautiful people around the world. Good morning, good evening, good night. Salam, namaste, assalamu alaikum. This is Dr. Sanjay Kumar from the Pakistan. Came back once again with a great personality from the California, Los Angeles, California. Let's welcome our guest, Kurtkurger Saab. He is from the Los Angeles, California. Sir, welcome to our show. How are you?
I am doing great. Assalamu alaikum and namaste and apke sahe. And I hope everything is going well with you. It is here. Um, Life is really starting to transform into better. And that's how we are looking to create life so much better than what it's ever been. And when we focus on it, we get it.
Amazing, sir. Amazing. Good to know you speak Urdu as well. हम बहुत अच्छे हैं. Thank you so much. Sir,
I do
thank
not.
you so much.
Sadly, I
For,
don't speak Urdu, but I say some things. That's at least it brings a smile to somebody's face.
amazing, sir.
Yes.
Sir, you are very humble person, and I am very privileged, very honored having you to on my show. Thank you so much for giving time, for accepting my request to come on to my show, share your life experiences to my viewers. Thank you so much. You are very humble person, very wonderful person, sir.
Well, it's a pleasure to be with you, and I welcome everybody with great respect and love.
Thank you so much, sir. My before we go question and answer session, my request to you: you share your life journey in life. What struggle you did, what hurdles, what obstacles you faced. So share your life journey, struggle of life with our viewers. Over to you, sir.
Well, I had to struggle with an identical twin brother for one thing, and we were always competing in sports. And if I finished first in eating, then I would get seconds because food was a bit scarce. We were not raised in a very favored family in regard to finances, but we got by and we developed into having a good education, and that is one of the most important things. I've been an educator since 1966, and it's been a process that I have loved, and I've done it on 5 continents. I've done it from middle school, which is like 11-year-olds, to obviously about 80-year-olds, but it's a beautiful, beautiful experience to open people to exploring life. And I'm just exploring life at the same time. For instance, I'm listening to a fascinating book by his the Crown Prince of uh, of England. He's Prince Philip, and he has this great book called Harmony. And this is one of the key things that we are missing in life right now. Life has been so disharmonious. And people love music. I love great Gawalis, and it's so enriching life. But when there's disharmony anywhere, music can help. But if there's disharmony in the music, oh my goodness, it's horrible. So we need to bring, or we, excuse me, we get to bring harmony back into life by like what we're doing right now. We're just talking with each other and speaking with each other and listening with what they call in Native Americans with soft ears. We try to feel what the person is meaning, not trying to figure out how does this fit in my life. You can do that after we talk. After we talk, you can figure out, my goodness, we can do that. That is something that can be done. For instance, my most important efforts that I get to put forth deal with creating peace through something that's never been done. It's called the Peace Lab, as in laboratory, as in labyrinths. And It's experimenting, exploring, trying to find out what works, what doesn't work, where it can work here and it can work here in a different way, and all of the intricacies that peace has in our life, from peace of mind. Just imagine if the world is peaceful and you're not, you don't have peace of mind, what good does it do you? So we get to have all of the areas of our life, from economics, how we can have economics that support peace, economics that support the environment, that support happiness, that support the companies. We can. There are new ways of doing economics. There's two main things that are happening in economics, in business today. One is B corporations. B is in benefit corporations. So it has to have what they call the triple bottom line. It has to be good for the business, has to be good for the workers and community that they're working in, and it has to be good for the environment. If it's not good for all of them, then you don't do it. So when a company goes in to be able to mine, it has to take into account the mining and how it affects the landscape, how it affects the, the water table, how it affects the winds, how it affects nature. Because right now, you look at what happened to Pakistan, the floods that happened, horrible, horrible floods. And it's so sad. And it's because of what has happened is climate change. We haven't taken care of our environment. We need that triple bottom line. Now, donut economics with Kate Rayworth, you can look up donut economics on TED Talks. And with that, you'll be able to see how donut economics can work for anywhere. Imagine Pakistan having that as their focus, because right now there's a number of cities in the world that are actually implementing donut economics, and they are thriving. Copenhagen, Amsterdam was the first one, Cali, Colombia, and so on. It's so beneficial for everybody. So I've been striving as a person in life to always be better myself, because if you're not good, you can't do much good. And so education, like I have a PhD, but PhD means play happily daily. As a matter of fact, I went to go and actually earn a regular PhD in sports psychology in 1985. I had already presented a keynote speech at the World Congress in sports psychology. That was actually in Copenhagen in 1985. I had already formed the Institute of Sports Psychology in 1982 in India. Then we ended up having 5 branches around the world in London, Melbourne, Tokyo, Los Angeles. So we got to be able to give so much of a holistic approach to peak performance. And then we implemented it into business. So we have Success Systems International, so that you can be a peak performer in life within yourself. Your family is better, you're better, the business is better, you're healthier, you're wealthier, you're wiser. It has to get all of those. It has to be body, mind, spirit, emotions, all of it, and the environment. So in 1981, before I flew off to India to live there for a year and learn and teach and so on, I was asked by PepsiCo International President. Now, this is PepsiCo, the Pepsi drinks. Their international headquarters is in Purchase, New York. He asked me to lead their fitness center. And I said, if I lead your fitness center, it has to include all of these areas. And But I said, look, I can't do it right now. I can do it when I come back from India. I've already made a commitment to India. So when I come back, I can do it. But I ended up doing other things.
Amazing, sir. By knowing your life journey, your life experiences, it really inspired me, my viewers. Thank you so much for sharing such a struggleful story of your life. Thank you so much. Sir, as you said that you did also a psychology and you were educationist. So how this journey from being an educationist to a psychologist, how this journey changes?
How did I get into psychology? Uh, that's a good question because my twin brother in 19, I think 76 or 75, somewhere like that, talked me into entering the International Senior Olympic competition in swimming. I won 4 gold medals. I had not trained in over 11 years for swimming. I was only meditating, eating differently, and I was doing yoga. When I went to this big competition, I was in this one race, a 200 meter, no, 100 meter breaststroke, no, 200 meter breaststroke. And actually, that's when I took second. That was another international senior Olympic event. But I did take second, but halfway through, everybody was passing me because my mind was thinking, this guy here next to me was a regular Olympian. He's got a faster time with me. He's trained. I'm not trained. My mind was doing all this. And I caught my mind doing it, and I started to go faster and faster in the last 100 meters. I ended up taking second. Now, I was teaching at a high school, in a ghetto school where fights and weapons were used and so on. Students found out about it, and they asked me to help train them because they were athletes, they were runners, and one was a high jumper. One had done 6'6" high jump. That's really good for high school. And in 3 months of just doing one practice, this meditation practice that I teach, it's a powerful meditation practice. In 1 month, in 3 months, 3 months, he ended up going 7'1". He got a scholarship to the University of Southern California. He stopped doing his meditation. He never got better. He could have gotten better, but he stopped doing a key thing for peak performance. So when I gave a presentation at the Olympic Scientific Congress in 1984, Bob Beamon, who long jumped more than almost 2 feet further than anybody had in history in the Mexico City Olympics, he was keynoting the sports psychology section. I was presenting on meditation and the ultimate performance in sports, because that's the state of mind that you are in when you are a peak performer, when you do your absolute best. Your mind is not thinking. You're in the flow, as they call it. You're in the zone, as they call it. There's all kinds of words for it. So when I work with cricketers, when you are bowling and you're in the zone, that ball bounces the way you want it. And same thing with the batter. Sunil Gavaskar was a top cricketer in India, and he would get into that zone. But it wasn't always conscious until you learn to meditate. You can at will get into that zone when you are practiced at meditation. And I teach a very, very powerful form of meditation. So that's how my psychology kind of development worked. Now imagine, I go back in 1985. I've already presented at the World Congress of Sports Psychology. I've already presented at the Olympic Scientific Congress. And they They made me take two classes because my undergraduate work wasn't so good. I was not focused on I was competing. I had three majors, so I was studying, having to study a lot. I was doing a work study, so I was also working to get my education. And so I wasn't getting high grades, but I graduated with basically three majors. I ended up having to take two classes. One of the classes, before they would admit me into the whole program, one of the classes was with the absolute worst professor I had ever had. And yet he was supposed to be a professor emeritus, so-called most prestigious professor. Supposed to be so good, but he was horrible. So I thought, I'm not going to spend all this money to get a PhD. I've already done all these great talks. I've already started the Institute of Sports Psychology. I've already been to 4 continents to train Olympic athletes or professional athletes and so on. So I don't need this degree. It's just a waste of money and time. So I used my time in teaching. And this is what I do now. And I'm working with Pakistan in the sustainable development efforts, especially in education and in peace. And peace is the most important thing that we get to focus on today. Because when we're having world peace, instead of having so much money going to defense, we can have it going to schools. So people are educated in character education. They'll have less violence at schools when they have character education. They'll have more people graduate. There's studies done on it I'll send you, if you want, I can send you all kinds of information to follow up, and you can send it to your, listeners and so on. All they have to do is send me a request through successsystemsinternational.net and ask for information about education or peace or peak performance, and I will send a PDF file. I'll send only one. Send a PDF file so that people can start the practice. Once you start the practice and get benefits, actually, you could read the book Winning Ways for Living. Winning Ways for Living is a book that we compiled. It's 4 books, actually. The first one and the 4th one got to be on the bestseller list on Amazon in 3 weeks. Bestseller in 3 weeks. It's not a bestseller right now, but it is well worth it because it deals with this holistic approach to peak performance in life. So you'll learn different forms of meditation. You'll learn different forms of visualization. You'll learn about nutrition, how it affects your IQ can go up 20 points and your mood swings can balance, and you can get up to 50% more endurance and strength with just proper supplementation. That was research done at the Olympic Scientific Congress, presented by the keynote speaker. So we talk about nutrition and not just supplementation. It is actually really good for the environment and the planet to have what they call a vegetarian diet. Now, vegetarian diet means that you're not eating so much meat. To be able to get to grow so much, let's say, meat, it takes so much land and fertilizer and pesticides, because they use pesticides on almost everything to feed these animals. And then what happens? We ingest the pesticides, we ingest the meat that's been using so many acres and so much money and so much effort and energy and oil and so on and so forth. And all of this gets to be absorbed with this. It's not very cost effective and good for the planet. But I can talk forever on life, because life is, I mean, if you're 94,000 years old, you've had a few experiences,
Thank you so much, sir. Actually, my laptop is battery down, so I came again with a phone. Thank you so much for handling the situation and keep going on, keep talking on. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Sir, my question to you is you have a 94 years of experience of life. Can you share three common tips about the how we end corruption from the world?
End corruption. Well, I
Yes.
did 94,000 years old. I didn't say 94 years old. Uh,
Okay, sir. Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir.
it's okay. Most people say I look pretty young for my age.
You, sir, actually, you are too young.
Well, it's all in your heart. There's nothing that I cannot do. It's like one of the picture, the only picture in my book shows a picture of a man lifting over 7,000 pounds. He was over 60 years old when he did it. It's off this high off the standard that he lifted it off of. So there's nothing you cannot do. And what was your basic question again?
What are three basic tips how we end corruption in
Oh my
the world?
goodness. Okay. Number one, get living values education throughout your whole country. You can't end corruption except for making sure that everybody participates in their government. You may have to start your own party. And there's a great party that's starting up in Pakistan now. God, I'm trying to think of his name and the name of the party. It's a very progressive party. But if you want, I can send you a few images, actually links to videos that indicate how to end corruption either in America or other places in the world. But the most important thing, the only reason people are corrupt is because of this: get money out of politics. When you get money out of politics, like in America, there's a law that says that corporations are people. Corporations aren't people. I think I am, but a corporation isn't. So what happens? We get money out of politics. You have to stop the bribery. And how do you do that? We got to develop character. You have to prevent it. If already some people are thinking, I got to have more money, I got to have a plane, I got to have a big, huge yacht, I've got to have all this. What do you need all that for? You got a bad ego? You don't think so much about yourself? You got to have all that? There's a very famous person. He's called the Bidiwala in India. Hundreds of thousands of people have learned from him, and he was a Bidiwala. He rolled beedies. You know beedies?
Yes, cigarette,
Yeah,
palm
yeah,
of cigarette.
yeah, yes. And so with beedies, what happens? You feel good. It gives you this certain kind of feeling. But he earned his living as a Bidiwala. But he was so wise, and people wanted to build an ashram for him because he was a jnani, a person who used the intellect to be able to get to the ultimate reality. And he said, "No, I don't want to have a big ashram. Don't build a big ashram. I live in this little. I have one window. That all I have to do is open one window. If I had an ashram, I'd have to open all these windows. I'm a simple person. I roll beedies." But he gave so much wisdom. His name is Nirsagadata. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he's like God. What's his other name? Ramana Maharshi in South India was what is called a Jnani. But for me, for Islam, oh my God, Rumi and Rabia, the poets, the mystics of Islam. I'm a Sufi. There's a great book called The Sufis. It's by Indra Shah, and that got me turned on to Islam. And yes, you are so blessed living in Pakistan. You yourself can help this ending of corruption. And it takes you spreading the word through your podcast and so on and keep on moving. I actually have to get off very soon. So, because I have I'm giving a major podcast on the station actually tomorrow, but one of my best friends is presenting right now in about 2 minutes. He's keynoting it. His name is Dr. Gabriel Cousins. He used to give the nutrition segment of my workshops when I gave sports psychology workshops, because he is probably one of the best nutritionists in the world. I'll give you a quick example about that. When I say that, I had had sepsis a number of years ago, about 2 years ago. My adrenals and my immune system were down to 20%. When I got out of the hospital, I phone him and he tells me what to eat, what not to eat, to take some special Chinese herbs, and to be able to get intravenous vitamin C, a certain amount every day or whatever it was. I did that within 2 weeks. My immune system and my adrenals were 100%. No other doctor can do that because they let you lay in bed and recuperate slowly, and they don't know how to fuel this body. The body needs the right fuel. Same thing with the fuel in your mind. If you don't give the right fuel for your mind, how can it work so well? I'll give you another example about education, how education needs to improve. How can it improve? For one thing, I think everybody on your call have been told to concentrate in school. Is that correct? You've been told to concentrate. I have one question. Have you ever been taught how to concentrate by a teacher in school?
Never.
But they'll tell you to, but they don't. And then they'll say, pay attention. Well, how much does it cost? They don't teach you how to pay attention. You need to have the tools to do this. If you look when you look in Winning Ways for Living, you'll find concentration practices. There's a great one from a movie called Karate Kid. It's a Karate Kid concentration technique. It's shown in the movie. And so on. So there's all kinds of concentration techniques, but who teaches it? Except me and a few others, wise guys. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I have to get going, Sanjay. Namaste and salam alaikum, and have a great day and blessings to you all.
Thank you so much, sir. You are a very wonderful person. I am truly honored, truly privileged by having you on my show. I have learned a lot of things, and I want to. You keep talking, keep talking. I'm learning. I want to this, but thank you so much for such a wonderful person. Thank you so much, sir.
Maybe another time, right? Okay, cheers.
It would be my honor, sir. Thank you so much. Bye bye.